GuMiho, Cure, Classic.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. We're ready to go into our second best of three. Obviously, best of three, number one. Pretty straightforward. Maru dominating GuMiho there, making it look easy. I think Maru probably going to be the first survivor here of the round of 8 and moving on to the round of 4. Up next, it's going to be Cure versus Classic, and this one I think is a little bit harder to call.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give the edge here to Cure, not just because it feels like TVP, at least in the Korean meta, seems to be in a good spot for Terran right now, but Cure just historically such a good Terran player. Just obliterating Protoss, it feels like. I mean, he's just a Protoss killer, so Classic really going to be up against the ropes, I'm imagining, from game 1 all the way through the finish. It's going to be tough. So we see I'm always like,
we get close like this and really start talking about the games.
That's how I cast, by the way. I cast like a gremlin.
We do. I get into my Sonic ball and I just start to spin as the game starts. So Classic has one matchup in this whole group he has to be good at. He has to be able to beat Terrans as a Protoss player. Where the other players, they have to be good at both their mirror matchup and good against another Protoss. Now, in theory, this should be easier for Classic, just in one matchup, but all the Terrans do play very differently. Cure seems to have a very crisp style. He might be top 2 in Korea, or maybe even number 1 in this matchup. So
it could be.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what to expect. Classic does look very good. Obviously, in this whole tournament, we kind of thought Hero was going to be the Protoss that would actually be, if there's only one that would advance, he would be our guy.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't turn out to be the case. So, with the Classic, I still have more questions than answers. I've got my fingers crossed for him, and for the tournament, we at least get one Protoss through.
Yeah, I liked his play in Group D overall. He seems quite solid, but
yeah.
I'm wondering how many builds he truly has prepared here for this PBT, because there's a potential he's going to play a ton of these matchups, a ton of these games today. And, as Protoss, oftentimes the onus is kind of on him to try to find the solution to the problems that these Terrans are going to be presenting to him. And you can't always rely on the same tactics to actually deflect whatever that aggression is going to be.
Right. I mean, he could have up to 9 PBTs he has to play here today against 3 very different Terrans. Cure, I do feel like if I had to pick a person to get out second in this group, it would be him.
I agree with that.
He looks very strong. There's been whole seasons where Cure has looked honestly really bad. Just didn't perform. And then there's times he comes back and he looks so on top of his game. This is one of the seasons where he looks very, very scary.
Absolutely. And Classic, the lone Protoss now.
Now, hold on. He's added a bag to that room.
Oh, there is a bag. Yeah.
Yes. We'll never know what's on the other side of that door on the right.
He's got his build orders in that bag, man.
That's right.
Game's going to load up. He's going to take the lid off that thing. A DT's going to pop out.
Yeah. I'm interested in how Classic's going to handle this. I do think PvT in general right now in StarCraft 2 is a very interesting matchup.
It is. It's my one. No, it is just my favorite.
It's my favorite
cast,
right now.
I think it's not in as good a place as I feel like it used to be, but it's still. It feels like one of those matchups that has kind of the most different dynamics into it, where like there are some cool aggressive plays that Protoss can go for. There's a lot of cool aggressive plays that Terran can go for. Games can end quickly, but if they don't, the mid game and the late game is oftentimes very interesting as well. It's a fun matchup, so I'm a little sad we don't have more Protoss here in the round of 8 just to get some more parity. But Classic is one of the best Protoss players in the world, one of the best Protoss players in Korea. Has been struggling to really get it together since coming back from military service a while ago. And
right.
Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the beginning of his journey here in 2023, reigniting that torch and returning to his old form.
All right, we're ready now to go into game 1 with these two. They're going to meet on a cistern that is ancient. See you guys there.
Club NV, Cure.
It's a comfortable looking shirt.
Yeah, a lot of those outfits for pros are super comfortable.
Classic.
There's no reason to ever have it. There's no reason to ever play the game and be at all uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know for me this became 10 times more true when the pandemic hit, because like, especially in Korea, we were stuck in our houses for a lot of that, but just starting to buy clothes that were absolutely the most comfortable things to wear in the house.
I'm still doing it. I'm just wearing like
Same.
undershirts and like sweatpants all the time. If I'm streaming, I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, sweatpants galore, basketball shorts, stuff like that. It's just really comfortable to wear. I do the same thing when I stream.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is the most comfortable thing?
All right, so no Probe Scout coming out of Classic just yet. So he's going to be playing a little bit more greedy here, optimizing to get a little bit more minerals, a little bit more gas than he would otherwise. And one of the styles that we saw, I think the most out of him in Group D, if memory serves, was this kind of slow trickle of Phoenixes off of 2 bases going into a 3rd Nexus and then Colossus. And this is something that Protoss players have been trying for quite a while now to make work. I'm not sure how much of it we're going to see today, but it can be pretty tricky because if you go too hard into the Phoenixes too early, then yes, if Terran comes in with some kind of blind drop and you catch it, you're feeling fantastic. But if they don't do that, and you're pumping all these resources into Phoenixes, then suddenly your Robotics is later, your Colossus is later, your splash damage as a result, and Thermal Lance are going to be later. Your gateway count might not be as high as it is. And Classic, it felt like he did perhaps the best job of any of the Protoss players that we watched in terms of kind of threading the needle and just pushing out Phoenixes incrementally at the appropriate time. And so I'm expecting to see at least a little bit more of that playstyle from him today. I'm not sure how many games of it we will see. And certainly not here in Game 1, as we're starting out with the Twilight Council, so already mixing it up a little bit from what we saw from him in Group D.
Yeah, I'm really excited by this Twilight Council. I'm curious what exactly this is going to look like coming forward here. Are we going to have DTs? I felt like we had a lot of DTs in the few Protoss games that we had in the round of 16.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to be a thing again moving forward here. DTs seem to be a thing you need to be doing always less than 50% of the time. If that makes sense.
Right.
Like if you're ever known as the DT guy, you're not going to have much of an impact. But if you're the guy that goes DTs like 1 out of 5 games, 1 out of 10, it's going to work a little bit more nicely for you.
All right, so 1 Marine will go down to this Adept for just a little bit of hull damage that shades away back to safety, and Blink will be the tech of choice here for Classic. No surprise there. And now I'm just kind of wondering, you know, when's that Robo got to go down? When are we going to see the 3rd base? And okay, 3-gate Blink to start. All right.
Okay, so it's going to be 3-gate. Yeah, this is
There's the Robo. Okay.
Yeah. And so I don't know if he's going to get a 4th. I mean, only time will tell as the minerals start to pile up. But he's got an Adept out here to basically act as a gatekeeper from letting the Hellion spot the unit composition. And it's actually not an old idea, if he does do this idea, but to just try to come in here and push. But you can also use this to intercept and defend drops.
I think that's probably going to be the game plan here, as it looks like Classic is setting up to take that 3rd base. And
these 3 stalkers, or these 3 gates, and then the stalkers that come from them, they function in the same way as the banked Phoenixes trying to catch the Medivacs and Widow Mines here, only they're a little bit more versatile.
All right, 8 Marine drop coming in, does get spotted here by this pylon, so Classic's going to move to defend, and he's warping in a lot of stalkers here, which has me worried about the 3 Hellions that are about to enter the natural base here for Protoss. Classic as of yet. Oh, he does see it. 4 probes already going down. The Marines were setting up for this flank. And in total, 7 probes. Might get an 8th one there, and in fact he does. So that's a nice catch there for Cure, able to get a worker lead. Only lost 1 Marine in the medevac as well. So, I mean, you're basically just trading, what, 3 Hellions, 1 Marine for 8 probes. You take that trade any day of the week. And, you know, now for Classic, it's time to try and apply some pressure of your own, because you know your opponent, he spent that factory time not on tanks, he spent it on Hellions. A lot of his Marines are in this medevac that's cross-map. There might be a window to get some damage done, and we'll see if he's able to find it.
Yeah, now this is a really good opportunity. I don't think I saw a tank in siege mode. And so if there's no, oh, I'm sorry, there is now a tank in siege mode, but even then it's just 1.
And it's all the way in the back too, so we can blink up into the main base without taking any damage from it. Wait for that blink cooldown to reset.
Yeah, now, I don't know the math on this exactly, but it's possible you can just blink on top of that tank, but it seems like if there's just enough to defend, you're going to be okay.
It would be an expensive trade, one that he might make. We'll see. For now, just seems like he's happy to take any damage he can get for free. He's able to get one Cyclone.
Oh, man, I feel like Kier's playing this just a little bit better.
It does feel that way right now, yeah. Probes coming in. I mean, Probes fighting Marines doesn't really feel good, especially with this fantastic positioning here.
Dude.
Only one Stalker to try and DPS this down. So Classic, he really has to make something happen here.
God, the
but
bunker's not dying.
Oh my goodness. A lot of things going Kier's way right now. He's actually going to recall the Stalkers from back at home, but didn't even need to, as finally that medevac gets cleaned up. But at the end of the day, yes, Classic does have that third Nexus, but it's a 10-worker lead here for Kier, and that's even before you factor in Mules. So it's going to be a minute or two before Classic's economy really comes online, and I'm worried that in that time span, Kier is going to be able to pump out enough units to just come in with a very dangerous blow.
I think you're right. You know, if you see the one tank in the main, I do think the right tactic is to then blink on top of the bunker, the natural, and kill that. I mean, it's, you know, hindsight's always 20/20, but I know I've seen Parting do that a couple of times in games that have looked, at least to start to look like that. That does seem to be the sequence. You know, there's really nothing worse than if you're a Zerg or a Protoss and you're facing off against a Terran and that bunker almost dies and then doesn't, and you're like, oh no, I've taken so much damage in this fight and didn't break, you know, the linchpin in the defense. So Kier's going to come make a beeline across the map. We've got a Stalker counterattack here, a nice interception.
I like this play by Classic.
Getting some closure on that bunker.
Yeah, gets closure on the bunker, picks off a good amount of bio too. This is a fantastic counterattack. He's gotten like 5 Marauders and a medevac. He should be able to blink out with at least most of these Stalkers. Looks like 5 or 6 should be able to get away. If he can get that Raven, it'll be huge. He wants it so bad, but no! Kier with a flank on the low ground, anticipating the move there from Classic, and what went from a tremendous trade for a Protoss player suddenly ends up going even, or perhaps even in Kier's favor. Oh, that hurts there for Classic. I mean, if those Stalkers had gotten home, I mean, he would have a second win now. But getting your Stalker count reset so heavily there for Classic, I mean, he no longer has the opportunity to really kite the Terran army as it begins to march towards your base. So, you know, Kier's going to start setting up for this push now, and this Terran army is looking mighty scary, tasteless.
Yeah, this is bad. I mean, not having that core bulk of those tier 1 units to kind of soak damage so that your Colossi can do damage. It is a problem. Now, 3 Colossi and a Disruptor, that's actually more Robotech than I realized he would have. But now is where you could start to pull this army apart. And then this is where Protoss can't really take advantage of the complexity they've built up because they have to fraction off different armies here and there. Just having the small group of Marines in the back here is actually going to do a great amount of damage. He is taking out this over time. Is he going to elevator up here? What is happening?
I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, it's going to be an elevator. Okay. Well, that Raven somehow went down to about a 3rd HP. That's a dangerous situation there for Kier. That's a full energy Raven. You do not want that one to die.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I guess that tech is right there. Okay.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, no more.
Oh, the Widow Mines too. All right, Blink to flex them. Disruptor's now coming in. A lot of siege take fire here from the low ground, and just kind of showing the benefits of elevatoring in like this. Colossi get disabled, and this trade is going massively in Kier's way now.
Yeah, Kier looking
60 supply.
Extremely strong. I can't believe that didn't connect. And he could just sort of keep dumping units here. There is a base being taken to the top left. Okay, there it is. And I just want to point that out because if Protoss holds this, they're going to still be ahead in bases as Kier is now taking his 3rd at last.
Yeah, but I'm worried this Protoss army just doesn't have what it's going to take to hold on here. I mean, Classic going to try and blink in. Needs a massive Disruptor hit. Not able to find it there as the bio just barely skirts past. Observer gets taken out too. Recall actually here to the 3rd base to try and defend, and that's going to leave the Colossus and the Disruptor exposed here in the main. And I think we're the death throes right now for Classic, man. This is looking like a disastrous situation. You can see he's just scrambling to try and salvage this as best he can, but the damage is mounting, and I don't know if he can come back from this one.
I think it's just too many fires to put out right now. I think Kier is doing a perfect job of basically going from place to place, continuing to create chaos in moments where Classic just can't really win the game of catching back up. I mean, finally one army is destroyed, but another one is already deployed over here. And, you know, the worker count right now, it's 76 SCVs to 52 probes, and it was even lower than that before. You can see that Kira's been continuously trying to make more and more workers. And it's not done yet. I mean, the drop got away. We see a push coming down here now. There's more Terran reinforcements. I think he should have enough to actually take this out.
He might, but that's a lot of heavily armored units, and those tanks are just going to melt him. I mean, not being able to breach this position is just so painful here for Classic. That Raven just paying dividends, and once again, another drop here at the third base. Classic doing everything in his power to hold on, but some Immortal actually walking in a melee range.
Yeah, that was funny. That was we're going to see if the Immortal has that melee attack on the tanks.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much longer Classic's going to stay in this game, but like 51 supply is kind of unrecoverable. There it is. GG. Kira takes game number 1, making it look easy in the matchup TVP.
Yeah, I mean, I love that counterattack there from Classic. He knew that he needed to buy time when he sent that group of maybe 12 or 13 Stalkers into Kira's natural and then main base, and he was able to pick off Medivacs. He got, I think, 5 Marauders. He was able to get closure on that bunker. Yeah. Everything was going pretty good, but Kira just, with fantastic army movement, gave him no opportunity to actually escape and retreat. And if those Stalkers fall, then suddenly it's a big bulk of your Protoss force that is no longer on the field. No longer are you able to kite and prevent Terran from actually getting into what was truly an unbreakable position. I mean, from start to finish, after Kira sieged that spot right below the main base of Classic, Classic just could not breach it, even there at the end.
And, you know, Protoss has that recall mechanic, which is very good to allow them to not just like get out of moments where your army's stuck on the map, but maybe recover a base that's getting harassed while you're holding a push. But really good Terrans have mastered the art of basically exploiting that final recall to then make the next follow-up drop or the next push the one that's actually going to be the killing blow. And that's what we saw back there. It seemed like for a little bit, Classic had a handle on it. But the drop comes in, and there's a recall, and then right at the third base, the drop comes there, and it's like, all right, you know, it's very hard for the Protoss to try to catch up from there. It all does go back to the fact that the Stalker counterattack was punished so heavily that all the damage that Classic did inflict was negated by not a single Stalker being able to get back home to help defend.
And now Kira's going to be up 1-0, just really showing why he is one of the best TVP players in the world, able to manage Classic strategy there on map number 1 flawlessly. As Royal Blood is loading up set number 2. Will Kira win 2-0 and move on to the winner's match, or will Classic start a comeback? Let's see.
Club NV, Cure.
Oh, hold on. Saw an SCV come out very early. Are we going to have a Marauder pressure? He may also be checking proxies.
I'm imagining it's going to be Proxy Reaper. If
Yeah.
I were to make a bet, that's what I would think it's going to be, but we'll see for now. 80 gas. He's not making a refinery.
All right, so it's going to be a barracks.
All right, barracks into refinery, right?
Yeah, barracks.
Okay.
Got to be barracks into refinery.
All right. It's one of those funny things, by the way, is like a Protoss player who gets proxy barracks like this all the time is like, I actually don't know if you build the refinery before or after the barracks if you're going proxy Reaper.
We're finally getting to see, man.
Yeah, learning.
So 2 gases come down. And I want to see what exactly this kind of rush is going to be. I think Reaper is likely. We've also seen these like 1-1-1 builds where everything is outside
it's possible.
of the Protoss's base.
This one probe is not actually mining.
That's actually so bad.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God, this is so bad.
Yeah, that's half of the gas income right now.
This is okay. He sees it, but that's like
in total, that's like maybe 24 gas or so, which might not sound like a lot, but I mean, consider the fact
getting rushed.
Yeah, you're getting rushed, and also consider the fact that like in PBZ, for example, you delay Warp Gate to get your Stargate a little bit faster. Warp Gate's only 50 gas, so
yeah.
At the very start of the game, 25 gas, 50 gas, that's a lot to deal with. And yeah, Tasis, I think you hit the nail on the head. Look at that. It's gonna be a reactor coming in.
And these builds are so fine-tuned. I mean, you really can't like not have everything synced up early game. It's one of the worst feelings ever is when you like find out a probe isn't mining gas early.
Yeah,
or you had like an SCV that's following another SCV instead of mining.
Or like, one thing that I do personally a lot is I'll be trying to micro my probes to stack 2 on each mineral line, right? And then I'll accidentally double-click the probe instead of selecting a new one, and then I send every single probe to the same mineral line.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, just like,
oh god,
just played myself.
yeah.
It's like minus 30 minerals. Way to go.
So the Adept's going to come out. We have 2 Hellions on the way. So this is a proxy, but it hasn't been revealed yet. And the Protoss didn't actually scout early.
No, Classic has been doing that a lot so far here in the GSL, and he did this in the previous map too, so maybe a little bit of meta gaming here coming out. And now Classic is in move at the ramp, sees 3 supply depots. He knows there's a proxy on the map, but it might be too late. It's going to be an Armory Widowmine drop. So this is going to be a Cloak Widowmine drop coming in after these 2 Hellions. And this is something that a lot of people I saw in the StarCraft 2 community wondering about, was whether someone's going to come in with this build to try and snipe Classic, because a lot of the games that Classic has been playing so far in the GSL, not only today, but also in Group D, he's been delaying observers, or he's been going Stargate into Phoenix.
Yeah.
He's not getting detection fast enough, and an Armory build like this, with Widowmines coming into the main base. Look, he has Blink. He has no detection. Once that Armory is done, I'm not sure how Classic is going to be able to mine from his base. It's going to be minutes down the line.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you get 1 mine at each base, and it's like, how do you even deal?
Yeah. All right, Widowmine's coming in, and Classic for now, he thinks this might just be a really fast Widowmine drop, but
Yeah, he's going to see when it gets in there, and he can't do it. I'm surprised he didn't actually...
oh,
Okay, never mind. Well, he doesn't need to.
they're
He can
coming
just
in the
walk him
natural
this way. This is
too.
hilarious.
This is a disaster.
Oh, he gets 1. Got to be careful. He really would have wanted that to be closer to the actual expansion. And so, I mean, this is a...
Thor now in production here for
this is
Cure.
so funny.
I mean, this is a nightmare scenario for
a night
for
meal.
Proto. Night meal.
This is night meal, man.
They don't pay me to say words, Tasteless. It's fine.
It's a night meal, dude. Okay, what is... Oh, that's a
Okay,
Nexus.
it's a Nexus.
Okay.
I think this is smart because the main base is pretty much done. You have to recall, but
I mean, this is like a strat from like that looked like it was
2010,
from the beta.
2011,
From the beta where it's
The
like you
SCVs.
send like 6 SCVs with a
To
Thor
repair
and
a Thor.
Marines and you repair it.
I think Classic is just straight up dead. He has very little mineral income. He has to keep losing mining time here in the main base. He has to basically... I mean, the fact that these Widow Mines aren't even synced up just makes the problem so much worse. And now this pylon, the only pylon here on the Gateway, the Robo, and the Twilight Council. Oh, I mean, the SCVs aren't here yet, but that thing's going to get repaired really quickly, and I would not be surprised to see him pivot to the natural expansion. Now, finally, the Observer is out. More probes go down.
Did he not kill one of the mines?
I think
They
he
both
might
mines are
have
still
missed
there,
one. Yeah, he has to deal with this first. All right, SCV's coming in. Repair not actually coming in on the Liberator just yet.
Well,
Probes getting pulled.
yeah, he's going to repair that Thor. I feel like there's just enough that the Thor can't be killed, and I think that's going to snowball this game to a victory.
Yeah, what a crazy build coming out of Cure. I mean, people were wondering whether this is the kind of thing that's going to happen coming into the group today, because this did seem like a weakness in almost every single build that Classic came up with so
Wow.
far, from Group D all the way now until round of 8 Group A, was delaying these observers, and if you go Stargate, going Phoenix into Oracle.
Very cool build.
And
And you can see, I mean, Kira did his homework. It's
Yeah.
why you have to come out with a lot of different play styles, or someone is going to counter you. But yeah, man, and keep this in mind as well. The 2 mines that were coming to the natural didn't even get in range of the minerals.
No, it wasn't even the best case scenario there for
Yeah,
Cure.
it wasn't even the best executed build, and it's still crushed.
Yeah.
So watch out for that on ladder.
Believe me, Terran's been doing this on ladder for a while, man.
No, it's going to get worse now.
It probably
Anytime
is.
it happens in a GSL, it gets a lot worse. So I don't know what else to say. I mean, Classic goes down to the losers. That's certainly not ideal. I think that Cure had a very good showing and really had a good read on how Classic was going to play overall, but there's a chance they have a rematch here as well. It's going to be GuMiho versus Classic in the losers, and then Maru versus Cure in the winners.
Yeah, should be some more fun matches, and hopefully Classic's able to adjust a little bit from this game going into his next PBT series, because, I mean, it's always tough when you have to go back to the drawing board over the course of a day as opposed to, you know, weeks at a time. But, I mean, if he's going to get out of this group, he has to make some adjustments, I think. That was a really scary series coming out of Cure.
That was a terrifying series from Cure. Cure looked so on top of everything. The TVT with Cure versus Maru is going to be really interesting. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, that winner's match. Don't go away. We will be back in a few.